The Kenneth Arnold sighting, 1947. On June 24, 1947, private pilot Kenneth Arnold forever changed how we talk about unidentified flying objects. While flying his small plane near Mount Rainier in Washington state, Arnold observed something that would spark the modern UFO era: 9 mysterious objects flying in formation at incredible speeds. What makes Arnold's sighting particularly compelling was his credibility and attention to detail. As an experienced pilot and businessman, he carefully noted the objects' behavior, describing them as moving like saucers skipping across water. This simple description, when reported by the press, transformed into the term flying saucer, permanently entering our cultural lexicon. The objects Arnold witnessed were crescent-shaped, traveling at what he estimated to be 1,200 miles per hour, an impossible speed for any known aircraft of that era. His detailed observations included how they weaved between mountain peaks, displaying maneuverability far beyond 1947 technology. This aspect of the sighting challenged not just what we thought possible in aviation, but our understanding of physics itself. Most significantly, Arnold's sighting occurred at a time when America was ready to believe in extraordinary possibilities. Post-World War II, with rapid technological advancement and growing Cold War tensions, the public was primed for stories of mysterious aircraft. The timing and Arnold's credibility created the perfect conditions for this sighting to capture the public imagination. Roswell Incident, 1947. The Roswell incident represents more than just a UFO crash. It's become the cornerstone of UFO mythology. In early July 1947, something crashed on a ranch near Roswell, New Mexico. What followed was a series of events that would fuel decades of speculation and controversy. Initially, the Roswell Army Airfield issued a press release stating they had recovered a flying disc, making headlines nationwide. However, within hours, they reversed their statement, claiming it was merely a weather balloon. This rapid reversal, combined with witnesses reporting unusual debris and military secrecy, planted the seeds of one of history's most enduring conspiracies. What makes Roswell unique is the involvement of military officials who initially confirmed the extraordinary nature of the find. Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer first on the scene, later claimed the material he recovered had unusual properties, lightweight but incredibly strong, with strange symbols. These details, coming from a credible military source, added substantial weight to the incident's significance. Most intriguingly, Roswell occurred during a time of genuine military secrecy, with the Cold War beginning and various classified projects underway. This context makes it difficult to separate fact from fiction, as genuine military secrecy became intertwined with UFO mythology. The incident's timing and location near several secret military installations adds layers of complexity to an already mysterious event.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Phoenix Lights, 1997. The Phoenix Lights incident stands as one of the most widely witnessed UFO events in history. On March 13, 1997, thousands of Arizona residents, including then Governor Fife Symington, observed a series of stationary lights and a large V-shaped craft moving silently across the night sky. What makes this case extraordinary is the sheer number of witnesses and their diversity. From police officers to pilots, from housewives to politicians, people across different backgrounds reported seeing the same phenomenon. The witnesses weren't concentrated in one area. Reports came from a 300-mile corridor from Phoenix to Tucson, suggesting something truly massive in scale. The event occurred in 2 phases. First, a V-shaped formation of lights was seen moving across Arizona. Later in the evening, a series of stationary lights appeared over Phoenix. Military officials later claimed the second event was flares dropped during training exercises, but this explanation doesn't account for the earlier V-shaped formation or the silent movement reported by witnesses. Most compelling was Governor Symington's involvement. Though he initially made light of the incident at a press conference, he later admitted to witnessing the phenomenon himself, describing it as otherworldly. His reversal and admission years later added significant credibility to the event, as it came from someone who had nothing to gain politically from supporting the UFO hypothesis. Belgian UFO wave, 1989 to 1990. The Belgian UFO wave represents one of the most well-documented series of UFO sightings in history. Over several months, thousands of witnesses reported seeing large triangular craft performing impossible aerial maneuvers over Belgium, with many incidents verified by military radar and pursued by F-16 fighters. What sets this case apart is the Belgian Air Force's unprecedented openness about the events. Rather than dismissing reports, military authorities actively investigated them, working with civilian UFO researchers and sharing radar data. This cooperation between military and civilian investigators created one of the most thoroughly documented UFO cases ever. The objects displayed remarkable characteristics. They were typically described as triangle-shaped with bright lights at each corner, capable of hovering silently and then accelerating at incredible speeds. Multiple police officers and military personnel witnessed these crafts, and one famous photograph, though later contested, showed a triangular craft with bright lights. Perhaps most compelling were the radar recordings from military F-16s that pursued these objects. The UFOs demonstrated the ability to accelerate from stationary positions to over 1,000 bmf in seconds, make instant right angle, and drop from 10,000 feet to 500 feet in seconds, maneuvers that would generate G-forces fatal to human pilots. TEHRAN UFO Incident, 1976. The Tehran UFO incident stands out for its combination of multiple credible witnesses, radar confirmation, and the complete failure of military equipment. In the early hours of September 19, 1976, multiple Iranian F-4 Phantom jets were scrambled to intercept a mysterious object over Tehran, leading to one of the most well-documented military UFO encounters. The incident began when numerous citizens reported a bright object in the sky. When the first F-4 approached the object, all its instruments and communication systems suddenly failed. A second F-4 was dispatched and managed to lock radar onto the object, but when attempting to fire missiles, the weapons systems completely failed. Both pilots reported the object displayed incredible maneuverability and emitted smaller objects. What makes this case particularly significant is the extensive documentation through official channels. The U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency received detailed reports, including radar data and pilot testimonies. The case was classified as an outstanding report due to the multiple witnesses, physiological effects on the crew, radar confirmation, and the electromagnetic interference with aircraft systems. Most remarkably, this incident demonstrated technology far beyond 1976 capabilities, the ability to disable military aircraft systems at will, maintain impossible speeds and maneuvers, and emit smaller objects, all while being tracked on radar and witnessed by military observers. Rendlesham Forest Incident, 1980. Often called Britain's Roswell, The Rendlesham Forest incident stands out for its highly credible military witnesses and physical evidence. Over 3 nights in December 1980, multiple U.S. Air Force personnel stationed at RAF Woodbridge in Suffolk, England, encountered strange objects in the nearby forest. The first night's encounters began when security personnel investigated strange lights in the forest. They discovered a metallic object covered in hieroglyphic-like symbols which left physical impressions in the ground and increased radiation readings. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt, the deputy base commander, was skeptical until the second night when he personally led an investigation and recorded his observations on an audio tape that still exists today. What makes this case extraordinary is the documentation. Holt's official memo to the Ministry of Defense described encountering a metallic glowing object that divided into multiple parts, dripped something like molten metal, and shot beams of light into sensitive weapon storage areas. The audio recording captures the real-time reactions of trained military personnel encountering something they couldn't explain. Most significantly, this incident occurred at a nuclear weapons storage facility during the Cold War. The witnesses were military personnel trained to identify aircraft and potential threats, making their inability to explain what they saw particularly noteworthy. The physical evidence, including ground indentations, broken tree branches, and increased radiation readings, provides rare, tangible support for UFO encounters. JAL 1628 Incident, 1986. The JAL 1628 incident represents one of the most compelling commercial aviation UFO encounters. On November 17, 1986, Japan Airlines Cargo Flight 1628, piloted by Captain Ju Teraoki, encountered multiple unidentified objects over Alaska for 31 minutes, with the objects being confirmed by both ground radar and the plane's own radar. What sets this case apart is the professional credibility of the witnesses and the duration of the encounter. Captain Teraoki, a veteran pilot with 29 years of experience, along with his crew, observed 2 objects that matched their speed and maneuvers, displaying stunning technological capabilities. The objects were described as being twice the size of an aircraft carrier and equipped with brilliant white lights. The most compelling aspect was the multiple forms of confirmation. Ground radar at Elmendorf Air Force Base and Anchorage Airport tracked the objects, and the aircraft's own radar system confirmed their presence. When the objects finally departed, they shot away at incredible speeds, demonstrating technological capabilities far beyond any known aircraft of the time. Most significantly, this case was thoroughly investigated by the Federal Aviation Administration, producing substantial documentation. Despite the potential professional risks, Captain Teraoki maintained his story, providing detailed drawings and consistent testimony that stood up to rigorous questioning. USS NIMITZ Encounter, 2004. The USS NIMITZ encounter represents a watershed moment in UFO history, as it's one of the first cases where the U.S. military officially acknowledged and released footage of an unexplained aerial phenomenon. In November 2004, off the coast of San Diego, multiple Navy F-18F pilots encountered an object that demonstrated capabilities far beyond known technology. What makes this case extraordinary is the quality of the evidence. The object was captured on advanced military sensors, including the FLIR, forward-looking infrared, system, and was observed by highly trained military personnel. The footage shows an object about 40 feet long, with no visible propulsion, performing maneuvers that defy our understanding of aerodynamics and physics. The most striking aspect was the object's capabilities. It descended from 80,000 feet to sea level in seconds, demonstrated instant acceleration, and showed no exhaust plume or conventional signs of propulsion. Commander David Fravor, one of the primary witnesses, reported that the object responded to his attempts to intercept it, demonstrating intelligent control. Perhaps most significantly, this case led to the Pentagon's official acknowledgement of its UFO investigation program, AATIP, and the release of official footage. This marked a dramatic shift in government transparency regarding UFO encounters and helped legitimize the serious study of these phenomena. WESTALL UFO, 1966. The WESTALL UFO incident stands as one of the largest mass UFO sightings in history. On April 6, 1966, in Melbourne, Australia, over 200 students and teachers at two schools witnessed a silent, silver-grey flying object descend into a nearby field, briefly interact with the ground, then rise and rapidly disappear. What makes this case remarkable is the number and consistency of witnesses. Multiple independent groups of students and teachers observed the object from different vantage points. The descriptions were strikingly consistent: a silver-grey disc-shaped object, about twice the size of a car, moving silently and with remarkable speed and maneuverability. Most intriguingly, the aftermath of the event suggests an official cover-up. The school's headmaster gathered the students and ordered them not to discuss what they had seen. Government officials reportedly visited the school, and local newspapers that initially covered the story suddenly dropped it. Several witnesses reported men in dark suits visiting their homes and warning them to remain silent. The most compelling aspect of this case is its lasting impact on the witnesses. Decades later, many of the students and teachers stand by their accounts, with their stories remaining remarkably consistent. The emotional impact and clarity of their memories suggest they experienced something truly extraordinary. Lubbock Lights, 1951. The Lubbock Lights incident represents one of the most well-documented UFO cases of the 1950s. On August 25, 1951, dozens of witnesses in Lubbock, Texas, including 3 university professors, observed formations of bright lights moving silently across the night sky. What makes this case particularly significant is the photographic evidence captured by Carl Hart Jr., a Texas Tech student. The credibility of the witnesses sets this case apart. The 3 professors who first observed the lights were respected scientists: W.I. Robinson, geology; A.G. Oberg, chemical engineering; and W.L. Ducker, petroleum engineering. They observed the lights on multiple occasions and attempted to apply scientific methodology to understand what they were seeing. Their detailed observations noted that the lights moved in perfect V formations at high speeds, maintaining precise positions. Most remarkably, the photographs taken by Hart show exactly what witnesses described: V-shaped formations of bright lights against the night sky. The photos were extensively analyzed and found to be genuine, not manipulated. Even Project Blue Book, the Air Force's UFO investigation program, was unable to conclusively explain the photos or the sightings. What's particularly intriguing about this case is how it challenges conventional explanations. While some suggested the lights were birds reflecting city lights, this doesn't account for the formation's perfect symmetry, the light's brightness, or their reported speed. The scientific background of the primary witnesses and the photographic evidence make this case particularly compelling. Zimbabwe School Encounter, 1994. The Ariel School incident in Rua, Zimbabwe, stands as one of the most extraordinary mass UFO sightings particularly because it involved children as witnesses. On September 16, 1994, approximately 62 schoolchildren, aged between 6 and 12, reported seeing multiple UFOs and small beings during their morning break. What makes this case remarkable is the consistency of the children's testimonies. Interviewed separately by Dr. John Mack, a renowned Harvard psychiatrist, the children gave strikingly similar accounts. They described seeing multiple silver craft landing in a wooded area adjacent to their playground, and small beings with large black eyes approaching them. Many children reported receiving telepathic messages about environmental conservation and the dangers of human technology. The most compelling aspect of this case is the long-term impact on the witnesses. Follow-up interviews conducted years later show that the witnesses, now adults, still maintain their stories with remarkable consistency. Many described the event as life-changing, affecting their worldview and future life choices. The emotional authenticity and continued conviction of the witnesses suggest they experienced something truly extraordinary. Most significantly, this case challenges our understanding of mass witness events. The children came from different cultural backgrounds and had limited exposure to UFO mythology, yet provided detailed, consistent accounts. Their youth and innocence, combined with the number of witnesses and the professional investigation by Dr. Mack, make this case particularly credible. LONNIE ZAMORA Incident, 1964. The LONNIE ZAMORA incident stands as one of the most credible UFO landing cases in history. On April 24, 1964, Socorro, New Mexico police officer Lonnie Zamora encountered a landed egg-shaped craft and two small beings while on patrol. What makes this case extraordinary is the combination of a highly credible witness, physical evidence, and immediate investigation by multiple agencies. Zamora's credibility as a witness was unimpeachable. As a police officer with a reputation for honesty, his detailed account carried significant weight. He described hearing a roar and seeing flames before discovering an oval-shaped object on sturdy legs. He also reported seeing two small, white-clad figures near the craft. When the object took off, it left clear physical evidence: burning brush, landing gear impressions, and metal traces. The case's immediate investigation sets it apart. Within hours, military officials, FBI agents, and Project Blue Book investigators were on the scene. They found the landing site exactly as Zamora described, with physical evidence including burned vegetation, ground impressions in a pattern matching Zamora's description, and unusual metal traces. The multiple independent investigations all concluded that Zamora was telling the truth about what he had witnessed. Most significantly, this case represents one of the few UFO incidents where a respected law enforcement officer witnessed both a craft and its occupants at close range, with physical evidence to support the encounter. The case has never been adequately explained by conventional means despite extensive investigation.